How's it going, everyone? And as you all should know by now, unfortunately we had a huge passing in the world of professional wrestling. Of course, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, passing away yesterday at the age of 69. Just a huge fatal blow to the world of professional wrestling, like I said. Dusty Rhodes definitely was an innovator. He was an inspiration, and a lot can be said about Dusty Rhodes. And instead of making a video yesterday talking about his death, I thought it'd be more appropriate to combine it with his DVD review, to kind of pay like a tribute video to him, talking about his death and my thoughts on it, and kind of paying my respects and tributes by reviewing his DVD as well. So I thought I'd combine the two into one video instead of just giving a thoughts video and then making a review of this down the line. So I thought I'd combine in the two. But yeah, it's just very unfortunate. Dusty Rhodes passed away. His kidneys failed, so that's what caused his death. Fortunately, though, it was due to natural causes. It wasn't anything. He didn't have a disease or anything, or he didn't suffer. So it was just completely natural causes, which is the best death you can have. So at least he went peacefully. He didn't really suffer all that much. But yeah, I just it's one of those situations where it doesn't seem real. Because Dusty was still a huge part of the professional wrestling world. He was still a huge part of NXT with the whole, how everything went down there. So it's definitely a fatal blow to see him go. And he'll definitely be missed, and it's very, very sad to see him go. But without further ado, I'm going to just go ahead and jump into his DVD here. Of course, this came out, I believe, in 2006. It's called The American Dream, The Dusty Rhodes Story. Right away, you definitely get, big first impression with this set because it's the way it's box art, or the way it's boxed. Definitely the best box art WWE's ever done, in my opinion, when it comes to just like, look how nice it looks, they definitely went full throttle with this set, and I think it's really cool that they did that for him. I wish they would do it for more people, not like this exact box art, but something very original, something very cool like this for more sets in the future. But just this day and age, they don't really care about how the box art looks. They know it'll sell, so they'll put it out. But definitely, first impressions for the set is it just looks awesome right from the get-go. But here's the cover here. Of course, you had Dusty Rhodes with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship right there. Right here was a play button. So you can click it. It would just say a bunch of random lines. I think I ripped the sticker off because it doesn't play obviously anymore. So I think I just ripped it off just because it said press here or something. So I got annoyed by it, so I just ripped it off, I think. I think that's why it's gone, but I'm not 100% sure. But nice little cover here, The American Dream, The Dusty Rhodes Story right there. Here's the side right here, so it looks like on your shelf when you put it on there. The American Dream, The Dusty Rhodes Story. Here's the back. You got a nice picture of him right there. And you guys can go ahead and pause and read that if you'd like. And just some, more information right there. And you open up, like I said, the amazing artwork. Look at this. This looks like it's from straight out of an old newspaper from back in the day. You guys can go ahead and pause and read that if you guys would like. Up to you. Doesn't really matter. Got a picture of him right there. And then you got another one right here. I've wined and dined with the kings and queens. That wasn't a Dusty voice, but oh well, I don't care. So yeah, like I said, if you want to read that, just pause it and read it. It doesn't matter to me. Ugh. And then, of course, here's the discs. Here's disc 1. There is the chapters for disc 1. You can go ahead and pause and read it if you'd like. And here are the matches, of course. And here are a bunch of promos on disc 1. Then you go to disc 2. Here are the matches. Sorry for that little glare right there. Stupid light. Can't really help it. Then you got some more promos. You got some more matches. And then you have disc 3. Here's some more matches. And then here are some promos and vignettes. So yeah, that's what it looks like on the inside of this DVD set. Let me put this back on the stand here so I can jump right into my thoughts on this DVD set overall. Hold on. Sorry, it's hard to really set this up when you're doing one take. It's better off when you're editing, but you know what? It's easier to do one take and then just, you know, you guys can suffer through it, I guess. But yeah, this documentary set, or just this DVD set in general, is a must-have. Not just for Dusty Rhodes fans, but just for wrestling fans in general. This is definitely a complete, basically collection of Dusty Rhodes. You have pretty much all his greatest matches, and you just saw the load of content you have with all the matches and promos and vignettes. It's just loaded with content, and that's pretty much all you can ask for in these kind of sets here. Just the amount of, you know, it's a little bit of everything. You have his greatest matches, his greatest promos, and even have his vignettes that aired when he was going to WWF. So it's definitely a huge complete set. I think the only thing that would really complete this is if they had his Hall of Fame induction speech on here. But like I said, this came out before. I think this came out in 2006, so it came out before he got inducted in the Hall of Fame. But it's an awesome set. It really is. The documentary on here is about an hour and 20 minutes, so it's not too long. But it gets the job done for what it is. You know, it starts off talking about his early life as a childhood growing up in Austin, Texas. You know, how he had some kind of was it a disease or some kind of, he was born with something in his hip where there was no tissue in between his bones. It was just bone on bone. So he was told he wouldn't be able to walk, but he ended up walking. So he overcame the odds of that. And you know, sorry, let me go on the other side so I can see the chapters, so I can kind of remind me the documentary. Pretty much talk about him just breaking into the business and whatnot, and pretty much teaming with Dick Murdoch in Texas. They basically became the biggest tag team there, and like, you know, the two well-known guys in Texas were Dick Murdoch and Dusty Rhodes, and they're just the man's man, and those two are just, you know, those are the guys to hang out with to really, you know, go out and party, and they're just basically, they mirrored each other. They live the same lifestyle. They're both the same, pretty much. So they're pretty much just, you know, the best of friends. And then Dusty came to a point where he just realized he wanted to go on his own. So Dusty went on his own. He went to Florida and started wrestling there, and where he became the American Dream, basically. You know, it started a tag match where his partner ended up hitting him by accident, and Dusty Rhodes ended up turning face out of that somehow. So he ended up turning. So that was a pretty good story how the American Dream came about. And he talked about his feud with Superstar Billy Graham, how they had the 3 Madison Square Garden matches, where the first one ended in DQ. Then they had the Texas Death Match, and then they had the Bullrope match. So they definitely just basically killed each other, and they really, you know, made their names from each other, from those matches they had in MSG, in those 3 rounds of matches. So that was pretty cool to hear him talk about. Then from there they go on to talk about his feud with Ric Flair when he became the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, with the big moment he had at the Great American Bash '98, or '86, sorry. Why the hell did I say '98 for? That made no sense in the world. But the Great American Bash '86, where I guess because I got the 6 and I thought of the 6 as a 9 and I mixed it too. I don't know. I'm trying to make up for saying 89 or 98. Oh my god, I'm confusing myself here. But Great American Bash, 86, when he had that steel cage match with Ric Flair, when he became the NWA World Heavyweight Champion by beating him. So that was a big moment for him, and the whole feud with Ric Flair was a big thing in general for Dusty. And then he talked about his road schedule, where he was on the road pretty much all the time, because he was a world champion too, so he had to work twice as hard and do twice as much, and that's what caused his first divorce with his first wife. To just the schedule pretty much to ruin that. But he ended up finding a wife in which he had, you know, Cody Rhodes with, who he pretty much took with him all around. So she traveled with him, so they definitely meshed very well, and he really fell in love with her. And you know, they talked about, you know, him becoming a booker in WCW and whatnot, and how, you know, he booked Ron Simmons to win the title. How, you know, people said that, oh, Black World Champion, like, they laughed at that. He's like, well, I'll make it happen. And they made it happen. And he talked about how, you know, WCW and, you know, the Jim Crockett Promotions at the time was just going down, and he wanted nothing to do with it. So that's when he went to the WWF with Vince, and and then Vince put him in polka dots, and everyone thought it was just a huge rib on him at first. And, you know, people to this day, even Dusty thinks it was still a big rib on him, but Vince's credit, he thought it was just he saw money in that, and he was correct because the whole polka dots thing was was hugely over. So it definitely worked with him, and Dusty made it work. And of course, with Sapphire in his corner, or Sapphire becoming his manager, really they talked about that a lot. They actually spent quite a amount of time on Sapphire for some reason. They talked about her for like 5 minutes for some reason. But yeah, I talked about him going to WWF, and then they talked about Dustin Rhodes, or Gold Dust. How him following his father's footsteps, how Dusty was really showing him the way growing up, or trying to get into business. He was trying to show him the way. And then they talked about Dusty going back to WCW to pretty much book there again and just be a part of it, and how talked about him and Goldust or Dustin Rhodes teaming up. Sorry if I keep pausing. I'm getting a little choked up talking about him, to be honest. That's why I keep pausing, not talking with the utmost excitement, because I'm getting, like I said, a little choked up talking about him. But yeah, just talk about him and Dustin, the little thing they did in WCW where they're a tag team too, and they did that in the WWF with the $1 Million Man angle, where Dustin beat Ted DiBiase, and they're pretty much tag team in WCW as well. And then they talked about the separation when Goldust went to WWF again, when Vince pretty much he told Dusty, like, hey, we're gonna let you make your son, then we're gonna take him and steal him and make money off him. And that's basically what Vince did. The Goldust character came about, and they talked about how Goldust and Dusty didn't talk for 5 years because of a situation where Dusty and Dustin were supposed to go golfing, but Dustin stayed home to take care of his wife at the time, and then I guess Dusty just didn't fully understand, so he kind of just like, whatever, screw you. So they didn't talk for 5 years because of that. And then, Dusty saw him on TV as Goldust and just really wanted to talk to him, so that's pretty much how their reconnection kind of came about. Just you want to talk to him about the character and everything. And then, they, made up, like I said. And they pretty much talked about, the legacy of Dusty Rhodes. So this documentary really goes over the biggest points of his career, and really, goes into Dusty's career. Like I said, it's an hour and 20 minutes. So they pretty much, there's something to just kind of skim over, but majority of it, you learn a lot from this DVD if you don't know a whole lot about Dusty Rhodes. So I definitely recommend going out and buying it. And it's, like I said, a great documentary, and the content on here is just absolutely awesome too, with the matches and vignettes and promos. So definitely, this is a must-have for any wrestling fan. But from final thoughts on Dusty Rhodes, like I said, very unfortunately passed away. He was a huge inspiration. Like, he was the guy who really personified. It's not about the looks, about the talent. They even said, he was a common man. The big thing that got him over in Florida was the fact that he was just like the people. He was one of them, and that's what got him over. You look at him, and Dusty Rhodes does not look like anything like a superstar. Dusty Rhodes is the complete opposite of what you think of a superstar. But Dusty Rhodes had the skill, he had the charisma, and that's what made him a star. It was the fact that he had talent. The guy, you can say he was fat, but here's the thing, he can go 60 minutes and not get tired. That's how good Dusty Rhodes was. He was conditioned, he had amazing charisma, he spoke from the heart, and he was just a true inspiration. He was a true, like I said, he personified that it's all about talent, not just the look. And even if you don't have the look, if you have the talent, you'll become a star, and that's really what he personified. And just the great mind he had for the business too, making war games and everything and whatnot. Just the amazing things he came up with in the wrestling world as well. So it sucks to really see him go away. But the best we can do is just say thank you, Dusty, for everything you've done. I hope you're resting easy right now. Resting in peace. And thank you for everything, man. We will miss you, and just thank you for everything you contributed in the world of professional wrestling for the past, 40, almost 50 years he's been in the business. So thank you, Dusty. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and whatnot. Hope you guys go out and buy it. If you don't have the DVD, you can watch it on the network. It is on the WWE network. Just go to the I don't know what section to go to, but I know it's in the Beyond the Ring section. So just go, you'll find it there. But must have for anyone. And thank you guys for watching this video. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.